Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400, or 635-9906.
Assalamu alaikum once again. Welcome to another episode of COVID-19 Daily Updates. And today I have an important guest once again. Ben Suwareh is joining me in moments. He's the main guest today, so I'll be listening and you guys. And if you have a question, just type it. Ben will try and answer them towards the end of the program. And as usual, this show is about coronavirus or COVID-19. The disease is called COVID-19 daily updates. Just to remind my fellow Gambian and humanity in general, this virus is still here and is not showing any sign of going away anytime soon. So I think it is important to continue to remind myself and humanity that the good things we need to do to prevent ourselves from this virus. So far, since virus emerged in Wuhan province in China in December last year, towards the end of last year, over 5 million people, 150,036 people are infected. And out of that, 332,074 people died as a result of COVID-19 infection. That is about 7% mortality rate. And for a virus, that's one of the most lethal viruses the world have seen in recent times. Yes, there are viruses who are far, far lethal than this. In fact, the MERS virus, which is also a coronavirus, which started in Saudi Arabia in 2012, is far more deadly than this. That one have a mortality rate of 37%. But still, COVID, for a virus, 7% mortality is very, very high. So number of people who recovered is 2,055,127, and these recovered populations are going to be very, very important in our understanding of COVID-19, and it's also going to be very, very important in if we're going to be successful in our vaccine development, and it's going to be very, very important also in controlling COVID-19, because those who recover, these recovered population, we expect them to have immunity against the virus. And in layman terms, what I mean immunity is that they're supposed to be resistant because of specially programmed proteins in their system that is make them resistant to this virus. So already UK announced a couple of weeks ago that they have now have a test that can determine if you are immune or if you are resistant to this virus, and the test was developed by Roche. And yesterday again they announced these tests will be available at the National Health Service, so anybody will have access to it. And also this recovered population, that's what is going to determine how we travel in the world and the coming months and for foreseeable future. Because I believe countries will start asking people if they are immune to COVID-19 before they even issue them the visa, or at the point of entry, you have to produce an immunity certificate to be able to enter, or they will send you into quarantine for 2 weeks. So what I'm foreseeing is going to happen is that this is going to be mandatory for people before they apply visa. They might have to show that they are immune to COVID-19, or they have taken the vaccination against COVID-19 whenever that vaccination is ready. So if that vaccination, as long as we have that vaccination is not ready, the traveling as we know it is not going to happen. So far, number of people with active COVID-19 infection are 2,762,825. And out of that, 98%, 2,716,903 are in mild condition. That is, their condition is sometimes they don't even know. These are asymptomatic, which only know their status because they came in contact with an actively sick person, and they were found by contact tracing, and they were confirmed by tests that they actually had COVID-19. And 45,923 are in serious or critical condition with COVID-19. And now I'm going to read to you the top 10 most affected countries past 24 hours. So far, 213 countries are affected with COVID-19 infections, and with two international conventions. By that I mean either cruise ship or military warships. You know, yesterday, about 24 hours, we have 66,625 new cases across the world, 2,835 dead across the world. And there before, we have the highest number of COVID-19 cases registered since the pandemic started. So that's a clear indication this virus is not slowing down. We have over 100,000 new infections past 48 hours. So America past 24 hours recorded 11,386. These numbers are going up again, and number of deaths 635. Russia have recorded 8,849 new cases and 127 deaths. Brazil recorded 2,676 and 254 deaths, and Spain 593 and 52 deaths. UK recorded 2,615 new cases and 333 deaths, and Italy recorded 642 and 156 deaths. So the case of Italy, England, and France now is clear proof that if right measures are put in place, this virus can be controlled, because this number at some point you think the entire country are going to go down with the virus, but it's clearly with the latest numbers, it's clear that the numbers are drastically coming down as a result of rigid physical distancing measures these countries put in place. Germany past 24 hours recorded 333 new cases and 3 deaths, and Turkey recorded 961 new cases and 27 deaths. Iran recorded 2,392 cases and 66 deaths. And India, the other country that is going in the wrong direction, just like Brazil, also recorded 6,194 new cases and 150 deaths. So coming to countries that very, very close to the Gambia. And as they said, as the old saying goes, as long as the causes exist, the consequences are inevitable. Gambia cannot just be complacent. Because the countries that surround us, these numbers are still going up. Past 24 hours, Senegal recorded 98 new cases, and so far they recorded 2,812. Guinea-Conakry recorded 2,863 new cases, and Ivory Coast 2,231 so far, and Bissau 1,089, and Burkina Faso 812. Mali 913, and Gambia 222 new cases still, and Sierra Leone 570. There is two countries I want to highlight. That is Guinea-Conakry and Mali. These countries have been to the polls recently, and their numbers are increasing at a faster rate than any other country around our part of the world. And it's rather unfortunate. Burundi, in fact, they expelled the WHO representative who queried the sensibility of them going to the polls in the middle of pandemic. I think today they've been to the polls, so I'm going to keep my eyes on those numbers as well a week or so after these elections. So that brings me to the summary of the statistic, and I'm going back to our guest, who is no other person than Ben. Ben will introduce himself in his own time, but I want to tell Gambians, I think probably is now one of the most familiar faces. Ben should be paid for his services, because he is an expert in Gambian affairs, or should I say world affairs. And he's probably one of the most consistent as well, because once the Yaya Jammeh is gone, some of us down our tool, we think the game is over. But Ben never stopped. He continued, and he keep warning us what is, if we are not careful, what is going to happen. And as they say in Mandinka, it's like if you spit it on a leaf, on a tree's leaf. We've seen things unfolding right in front of our eyes. And if we are not careful, we could even slide back to dictatorship and far worse things. So Ben, welcome to another episode of daily COVID-19 daily update on Gunju News Online. Again, every day we have new visitors, so I'm going to bother you all the time to give yourself a brief introduction about yourself. And our topic today is corruption at the head ministry. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, again for giving me the platform to share with the viewers. And I'm saying Assalamu alaikum. It's me, Sulayman Suwareh from Bakau. and presently living in the United Kingdom, and a host on the Fatu Network, The Gambia Way Forward. Thank you, Ahmad, for all the kind words, and I count you as a comrade. I mean, you have never downed your tools, but you are engaged in environmental and health and almost every other issue, and your heart is in the right place. Your heart in the right place. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, then, well, on the screen, I'm not sure if our controller can enlighten. We start with that slide. If he can make it big, so Ben can be able to read it.
Yeah.
And I think you can be able just to be able to make this up. Yeah, that's fine. So make it big so Ben can read it. We start with that. Then what is happening at the ministry, just make us believe. Some will
Mm-hmm.
say a minister turned out to a whistleblower. I
Yeah.
can say that's a good news. So I think that should give energize people like you, that actually, we are controlling the narrative. The
Yes.
preso is the message is getting across, and the preso is telling. Who would have thought the ministers coming out and supporting, what you've been telling Gambians. So these slides is a clear example. In this, there is a spending deficit of 1 million.
Yeah.
In one of the most obvious corrupt cases in the Gambia. Please, let's start with this. What?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ahmad. As I said, one
Mm,
thing I hate is to
mm,
be vindicated
yeah,
or see Gambians being vindicated against this
yeah.
government.
I know,
But
I know.
the reason Gambians speak out is not due to hate of our people, not hate
Mm,
of Adam Barrow or the government.
mm, yeah.
It's matter of a duty.
Mm,
One of our duty and the most sacred duty is
mm,
to stand up and
mm,
hold people given responsibility
mm,
accountable.
yeah,
That's why we always ask for transparency to make it easier
mm,
for us to hold them
yeah.
accountable. And
Mm,
this is a duty that we do. And when
yeah.
we talk about issues, it's not because of
Mm,
it's personal to us in a way that
mm,
we want to bring people down. It's
mm,
personal to us because of we care about Gambia and we care about our people. And
mm,
when this issue started, we
mm,
knew we knew that we went through 22 years of dictatorship. But even that,
mm,
I used to tell
mm,
people that the
mm,
latter part of the Jawara government, the main
mm,
reason Jawara government was overthrown is due to
mm,
corruption.
yeah.
Yes, the people, I'm not justifying the people that overthrew the system
Mm,
because they
yeah.
become more corrupt. But I am saying that is that loss of confidence that
Mm,
people have
mm,
in the government because of the corruption that was beginning. But we all
mm,
knew that corruption was
mm,
institutionalized in the time of Yahya.
mm, yeah.
We knew that the country was bankrupt in a sense that in sense of governance. The
Mm,
structures are non-existent.
mm,
The capacity is misplaced.
mm,
Resources is being misused.
mm,
This is what we inherited.
yeah.
Now, the reason I said capacity misplaced doesn't mean that Gambians are not able, but
Yeah.
the Gambians who are able now not in the right place
Mm,
to do the work.
mm,
Now, if we come as a new government and we
mm,
see that government operating
mm,
using the same framework, using the same people, the
mm,
structure, and have not instituted a
mm,
reforms, why are we surprised that the health minister came out?
mm,
Why are we surprised that the Gambian people who advocated against corruption and the systematic mismanagement of
mm,
abuse of government are, are vindicated?
mm,
What Mr. Samete did
mm,
was
mm,
out of frustration. Mr.
yeah.
Samete did not choose to come and confront the issues at the National
Mm,
Assembly. And
mm,
we have to give credit to the National Assembly as well. If they continued to be a Robert Stamp assembly,
mm,
Mr. Samate would not have been under pressure.
mm,
Mr. Samate is under pressure from the Gambian people on both sides, on social
mm,
media, and
mm,
the expectations at the National Assembly. And this is what is good about holding people accountable. It empowers them to do a good job. If people criticize you constructively, what it does is empower you to do your job better. You take on board their criticism and make sure you amend things that you are doing wrong or the mistakes you have committed. Mr. Samate went to the House of Parliament with this frustration that look, systematically we are not operating. We are operating, but systematically we have failed because we don't even have the structures. I, as a minister, I am fighting. Just imagine things he's talking about. We should have had that from the Director of Finance.
Yeah.
Or these are the people dealing with these issues. But he doesn't have faith into the system he have. They have to move from his position. Instead of looking at the big picture to run the operation as COVID-19, he was dealing with the miscellaneous issues or the issues which is causing distraction. And this is why he came out, to talk about the problems he's going through. And when people try to minimize this to be the health ministry, no. This is entirely exposing the government for its lack of good governance approach. Because the Minister of Health Finances have an oversight from the Minister of Finance. Some of the issues he's talking about is because of they have not constituted the right committees by bringing in stakeholders like the civil society and others to help to make sure the accountability is in place. Rather than what they did, they constitute a committee among themselves, and that they have done after effect. After they find out that the problems are so much, they decided to form a committee that will look after the spending and over things. That tells you the government that is reacting. It's not a government that is proactive. This is where we are. Now the COVID-19 have exposed this government for its corruption. The COVID-19 have exposed this government for its incompetence. The COVID-19 have exposed this government that the government have an agenda to use the COVID-19 operations as a politicized tool for them to gain political capital. And this have been confirmed. And the evidences have come out at the House of Parliament. As you said, that people have been talking about it. Now people are vindicated, which we are not looking at. It was not what we were looking for. What we were looking for was to warn and so that they will be proactive and do the right thing. Thank you, Ahmed.
Yeah, now the minister turned whistleblower to the parliament, and I think it's almost a week now. Probably I missed something because I have to admit I'm struggling to keep up with the social media because of work commitment. I didn't see anything or hear anything from the government in response. And if nothing happened, what should the parliament do, or what should happen?
Yeah,
Thank
you, Ahmed. That's a very important point. Yeah. And I think that this would highlight what I was trying to put here. That the minister himself, it's not that he is ready or he is in position to deal with the issue at hand. Because of the issues at hand must be overwhelming. Now the minister have put in it to the people that matter. These are the people that represented us, our interests. And this is the other part of the organ of government that is part of the check and balance, to be aware. Now what we expect is for the House of Parliament to constitute and ask for an investigation on systematic, I am talking about systematic big corruption. I think if we start from there, then we can get to small corruption. There's no point talking about the police officer taking attire money at the checkpoint and others when we know that it's due to the systematic corruption that even might have led for the police officer. We have to find or make sure this government comes up, or any government to come up with a strategy and initiative that have an approach which is a zero approach to corruption. But this government would not do, because of the most corrupt person today in the country, it's the president. As they said, the fish rot from the head. Now, the House of Parliament, though, have the independence. Parliament should use the powers vested on them on 20 Constitution to make sure investigation are held, to force the hands of government to do something about it, or they do something about it. And the good thing about this is, I know people will keep on telling, oh, but they will start it, nothing will happen. No. We have to use the democracy we have. We have to test the democracy we have. Until we try something, we cannot tell the outcome of it. If you don't measure something, you cannot tell, what the results are. You are not in charge of that. You are in control of that. But if the House of Parliament instituted, investigations, what will happen is it would interest Gambians, and Gambians would see that we are, starting somewhere, to bring about change, and eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, as you said, the talk in the social media is that, well, this one also people will talk after a week, nobody will talk about it. As things happen like the 35 million in the president's wife, the talks, you can go on and name it, but just not to expand go out of topic of this. So the government decided anyway they're not going to do anything. What should happen? Because this is blatant. It's like, as you said, what COVID-19 does, not only in the Gambia, it brought a spotlight onto everything. It shows the vulnerability of the whole world, and it shows the lack of actually investment into health services across the whole world. And in Africa, it exposed corruption. It exposed our lack of preparedness. It exposed our lack of discipline. So like the financial discipline now we see. So this is in the open. This from the state minister. People are saying he should call names, but that's not his responsibility. I think he done enough. So now, what should the government or the parliament or the civil society organization now do?
That's a very important point, Ahmad, especially highlighting that the problem that what the good side of COVID-19 is to highlight, to expose what we're living with. And I assume if any country have wisdom, they'll make sure they prepare themselves, and things would not be as it was. And things change will happen. That's why I'll talk to the Gambians again who keep on saying, but COVID-19 did not only affect Gambia. But what we're talking about is, when we talk about our country, we should have the audacity to look at the best practice. Countries that done well and say that we should emulate, and Gambia should do this. We should not rest on because of other countries have failed. We should look at it. It affects all countries, but look at countries that do well with this. And especially the countries that did exceptionally well are smaller countries. Taiwan, who are not member of the WHO. Koreas and other countries. We should emulate the good. But again, coming back to it, Parliament is one organ of government, but we have institutions that too have oversight over the affairs of government, and that institutions we are the members of those institutions. We the citizens, we the sovereign citizens are the members of those institutions. Those institutions should do their work and make sure. They act on the mandate given to them. Even today, the police, the Inspector General of Police have a mandate to investigate when crimes have been reported, and this crime been reported. Today, the Attorney General have a mandate. He is, to investigate this crime. But will come down to, again, civil society is a sector of governance that have a mandate to look into private investigations. To look into private procurement. These are issues we have to exploit. And continue the advocacy to expose more and hold the fire close to their feet so that they will do something about it. But the other institution that we really see to do what they meant to do is the Gambian opposition parties. Yes, we do hear platforms that belongs to parties talk about issues. We do hear or see people that belongs to political parties make their position. But these are not, because those platforms, when they do something bad, they distance them. Our executive did not say it. It's not our member of executive. If one of their members come out and say something wrong, they distance from him. No, but you should not take that on us. That's not our member of our executive. You get my point? Now, we are asking political parties, opposition political parties, to come on board and talk and find solutions to put out the pressure so that this issue can be investigated and dealt with. We don't want a single statement. And whenever you call our opposition parties, they are very good at rushing and issuing one statement. We want tangible actions taken. We want to see the opposition act as a government in waiting. We want to see them act as an alternative. We don't have problem with Barrow because of his name is Barrow or wherever he from. What we have problem is what he's doing. Now, if you want us to trust you, to put you in office, we are asking you to show us what you do in this. In this instance, can you prove yourself that you believe in this? And Ahmad, if the opposition did not come out to show us what they can do, I tell you that we have a problem. Then tell them that when they go into government, they are not ready for the change. One, they don't have the culture of change, or they don't have the agenda of change. They will go and repeat whatever they found there. In order to convince the citizens, and this is what can galvanize the government citizens to get involved in politics, is to talk about the issues and the real issues and to talk about solutions to our problems. Any credible political party today should come out and address what the minister has said, not only call for accountability, or tell us what his party is going to do to ensure, they encourage that accountability to happen. But and I will take this opportunity, Ahmad, to call on Gambian opposition political parties to come back together. I am not calling for them to have a coalition. I'm calling for them to have a working relationship. In these circumstances, we need cooperation. In these circumstances, we need to make sure we hold accountability so that our institutions will be fit for purpose. So that when we go to elections, our elections will be credible. So that when we pass the elections, our institutions are on footing for the next administration to take on and move it to higher heights. I am calling on them. This is the time that they have this inter-party mediation they normally have. I'm calling on them. There are lots of issues we have at hand right now. And we expect them, especially during this emergency period, to come together. Be the PDIS, be the GDC, be the UDP, be the CA, be the other new political parties or any other registered political party, and invite civil society and other stakeholders onto the table. And this, what would do is, it would help us to maintain the peace and stability and hold accountability on government and put pressure on government so that government will do the right thing. And this will take us safely to the elections and make sure we have credible elections, and the exit of the elections would be an administration that is fit for purpose. This is something I think that is required from what the minister have unveiled at the at the House of Parliament, because people are concentrating on the corruption, but no, what he had unveiled is a structural issue, saying that structurally we are not sound. The government he's not concerned. His statement was for the health ministry, but this is a reflection of government. That government is not in a sound footing. The structures are not in a sound footing. The capacity is not right. It's not there, and corruption is endemic. Now, this should be an approach that should be taken. A holistic approach should be taken. A comprehensive study carried out, and solution find from it, and be dealt with.
Yeah, Ben, since you mentioned the oppositions, even though we are discussing corruption at the health ministry, but these topics, once you start discussing, things will come up. You mentioned opposition, maybe they don't have an agenda. What they have, that is to replace Barrow, then worried about how to rule the country after. I think that's a very, very wrong approach. That's why we have to try our best and make sure they do. You know, this government, they are useless, but one thing they are good at, they are very good at responding to public outcry. So this is where the opposition are failing. It's not uncommon for you see the social media activists giving credit to themselves, thanking the Facebook Republic, which is a good thing. But the opposition, with all the might they have in the parliament and all that, they could do better. You know, so in that maybe that will come another day. We will discuss. what why we are failing, because we are like going in a circle. You look at in the opposition, the only one talking about real concrete is probably one or two parties. The rest are just waiting to replace Barrow, and then they think about how to run the country. I think
And
that should
some of them
yeah,
are anticipating for a
yeah,
coalition government to happen again, and they become
yeah.
ministers. Yeah.
Minister, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's a terrible thing. Going back to the figures, I'm not sure
Yeah.
if Lanjame can show us the other slide, which shows these. Actually, that's supposed to be their itemized billing, what
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
spend on what.
Mhm.
But looking at that
Slide.
paper or
Yeah.
list, one thing that caught my attention:
Mhm.
the amount of money they spend on not only vehicles,
Mhm.
but petrol and lubricants on its own, and also this. But one key factor also, yeah, if you can, yeah, this is
Yeah.
the figure. I'm not sure if it can be
No, no,
expand
it's
on.
okay. I'll have my phone here. I'll look at it from my phone. Yeah.
Okay, but the miscellaneous also,
Yeah.
miscellaneous spending almost treble the
Yeah.
amount of money they spend on hospital and health equipment. Could you
Yeah.
imagine this is a pandemic? We
Mhm.
are talking about this is a good opportunity to build our fragile healthcare system.
Mhm.
But hence you have people here spending on miscellaneous. What
Mhm.
kind of miscellaneous is that? I think that alone warrant a major inquiry. If you have miscellaneous spending more than the actual problem itself, or
Yeah.
treble it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I I I am not an accountant or an economics, but one thing in our profession, we
Mm,
are trained to look at things. We are trained to look
mm,
at things. That's why we can have opinion on of issues.
mm,
There's something called restructuring or structuring and restructuring. They
mm,
structure things to
yeah.
favor them in a way
Mm,
that they can the corruption
mm,
can be legitimate.
mm,
I'll give an example of that.
mm,
Because the permanent secretary of finance have said something, and people have
mm,
not caught up to that.
yeah.
He said when some of the spending were raised at the
Mm,
people and for the people, so
yeah.
he said that that spending it's from the first 12 million
Yeah.
been disbursed.
Okay.
What is he telling us? Yes, I know that the spending is ridiculous,
Yeah.
but this was when we didn't have any mechanism, and that 12 million was there. That
Mm,
tells you that when the 12 million left the
mm,
finance ministry, they
yeah.
went to people who choose to structure it the way they want to structure it. And
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
where they put, when they want to bury certain things, they put it in a one folder called
Yeah.
miscellaneous folder,
Miscellaneous.
where
Yeah.
are not itemized.
Mm, mm, mm.
Because it's just ridiculous to say that that amount is miscellaneous. What is the
Yeah.
meaning of miscellaneous? Something
Yeah.
small to be accounted for. That amount of money cannot be, be piled together. But again, people have forgotten, or people are not realizing that 10
Mm,
million US dollars
mm,
apparently is been spent in Turkey for
mm,
the,
mm,
because when we ask for where is the money that goes to
mm.
the hospital, they say no, there is a separate 10 million US dollars sent to Turkey to buy medical equipment and
Yeah.
ambulance.
Yeah.
Ahmad, we
Mm,
have to keep an eye on that.
yeah.
Because of this, this approach, they have never gone through bidding. It's a single source,
Yeah.
and now we are investigating. So far, the company they approach is
Yeah.
not producing ambulances or
Yeah.
doesn't sell ambulance. How this company is going to deliver the ambulance? All these things is to be looked at.
Yeah.
I think
Mm,
investigation will come to it. But if you
yeah.
come to the itemize, you will realize that why do you have more on vehicles?
Yeah.
Again, as I said, they structure it in other way to
Mm,
legitimize the corruption. Now,
mm,
if physical purchase are what
mm,
high itemized purchase,
mm.
vehicles you have to spend millions.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to steal money to buy I cannot itemize laptops
Mm,
because
mm.
laptops would be in the hundreds,
Yeah.
or thousands. But one item vehicle is in the millions.
Yeah.
Now, if I have a kickback of 10% from that vehicle,
Yeah.
what does it do? I have a chunky 10% enough
10%.
to take from the money. You
Yeah.
see, this tradition started from the First Republic. When
Mm.
Tariq Musa came into the market, TK
Yeah.
Motors.
Yeah.
TK Motors structured,
Mm.
an upward parastatal and government to be buying vehicles from him, and they are guaranteed this 10, 15, 20%. And if we have time to talk about corruption another day, I can point to institutions that benefited from this. But this is the culture that's been used to now. That's why every project in the Gambia, the first item they go for is vehicles, because that's where they can get the chunk of the money from high purchase. Always when you want to investigate corruption of theft, look at the high items. Look at the high items. And when you hear miscellaneous, try to look at the miscellaneous account to see what is buried under the miscellaneous account. Then they will go for. What this does to them as well is that once you purchase vehicles, now the other things that follow vehicles is the contract that comes with the vehicle. The contract is the service contract. That service contract will come with the lubricants and spare parts and everything else. Then throughout the budget period, there is a way for them to steal money throughout from the 10% or the agreement they have and going on. Then the technical things that can be done that are effectively and the per diem and the expense and the this is how they do this stealing. It's open secret.
Yeah, then thank you very much. Yeah, because I am surprised. Not only vehicle, but then you have petrol and lubricants on its own and the spare parts on their own. And
It's
put
part
all
of
this for about
part
12
of the
million.
structure.
Yeah,
From one large item this thing and what goes with it, because then you have the servicing of the vehicle. What you don't remember is down the line that vehicle, if it's bought from TK Motors, it will go back to TK Motors for servicing. And TK Motors were after the warranty period, TK Motors will be making money from that servicing. Or if you want to order spare parts, they will have to order spare parts from TK Motor, because TK Motor will be the sole distributor of spare parts for that type of vehicle.
Yeah, thank you very much. When one thing, I know the dramas and Jarvis will be saying, hey, he's going about rice again. But then we've seen a lot of rice. And if you look at this bill also, a large chunk of money is spent on food.
Yeah.
But either Gunyur is too yellow or what, but I don't think we receive any rice. You know, I know we in the diaspora came together and provide something for the community. And also there are some local businesses, and Gunyu project in particular is doing a lot, you know, and also the taro. But all the rights we've seen in Makati Square, I think it's supposed to be everybody, but I don't think our community will receive anything. Do you have any information about those rights?
It's not only your community, it's every community. Nobody have seen this rise. There's a councillor from Banjul today.
Yeah.
Banjul, I don't know which councillor it is. Someone just sent me the message. The person came out to say that, look, people are calling him asking for the rise, but he said when they were doing this and collecting the data and everything, they were sidelined, and the councillors have nothing to do with this. They took it onto themselves, and they are the one having this rise. He have nothing to do with this rise. I have not seen rise. Then people calling him in Banjul, and we have the same report from North Bank Division. We have same report from Bakau and others. Ahmad, let me just quickly go down to this again. What happened here? As I said, it's a systemic corruption, but again, it was meant again for political capital. When they had this project, instead of doing the right thing, that the structures put in place, so that a committee comprises of different groups. You see, when you have different stakeholders on the table, it ensures accountability. It ensures transparency and accountability. But once you exclude, especially civil society, and now you bring out what you call government, but we know that the structure of government you're using are political appointees. You are not even using the elected executive. You are not using the mayor. You are not using the councillors. You bypass them. and went to your political appointees as governors, and down the line, your supporters of your political party. Now, from the procurement of the rice, it was politicized in a sense that people they favored are people they perceive. Go and find out in the business community. These are people they perceive to be supporters of the Barrow project. And some members of the Barrow project who are ambassador of light, some of them are political advisors, use some of these companies as a front to have a contract. Now, when they went, the amount of rice that they have quantified to put on the receipts, they cannot acquire that amount of rice in the Gambia. Then they will have to buy all the stocks available. Now, they have a problem of delivering that stock. What did they do? They theft. Now they send an invoice. For instance, they can send an invoice of 1,000 bags of rice, but they have never delivered 1,000 bags of rice. The only reason is because of the government have already given them contract for 1,000 bags of rice. Now you already have deficit of rice, but not only the deficit of supply. What you have is corruption because someone is going to be paid for something he has not supplied. Then down the line, then the governors and all these patrons would be given the right to distribute, and the governors and these patrons would have an opportunity to steal. And they will be hoarding the rice in their magazines, and they will issue out a little. Then those supporters or the yai companies or the middle men and women on the ground, if you give them 20 bags of rice, they too will hoard part of the rice. Then what they will do is the 5 bags or 6 bags they have to give away will be going to a small minority of people they know, people who are affiliated to them, who are supporters. You see, this is the only explanation, and this is the fact. That's why the Gambians didn't see the rise. And again, when we came out to say that this is what is going to happen, it was not a prediction. It's the understanding of the operational systems of this government and the past governments. But one thing about the past government, there was an element of fear that why some of element of delivery, I mean, some element of delivery was happening. That if Yaya Jammeh gives you something, he would follow up. Or you would be scared that if people of Gunjur, now Yaya Jammeh gives to Ahmed Manjang, go and give it to Gunjur. And people of Gunjur come out to say that Ahmed Manjang, we haven't seen the rise. Ahmed Manjang will be scared of that. Because Ahmed Manjang know the consequences of that. But it's not in the Barrow government. You do as you wish because there's no element of fear, there's no respect, for rule of law. This is why people have not seen the rise. It's not on the Burfoot, Gunjur or Kombo South, but in the entire country have not seen the rise.
So basically, even rice politics, Barrow cannot even play that very well because this is one thing Sada would have perfected. He will come with his rice around around September. The hunger season. It's a common place in my community, Baba Jawalara Mano Natale. So that's how you win the local farmers. But this one, it seems even that rice.
You're quite right, because what used to happen, because I partly grew up in Bondali, Foni Bondali. What used to happen is people hunger season. Some of the even some of the aid given by the aid agencies. USAID or all these all other aid agencies was seen as Jawara's rice or Jawara's intervention. And I will tell you, I've not seen any evidence. I was young, but I've not seen any evidence of overt operation towards it. But it's the sophistication and win of trust and confidence that people assume that anything good that comes out of this is Ahmad. Anything bad come out of it, it's someone else. That was something that Jawara have mastered. Anything good about it would have been given credit. But most of the aid given in that time was actually from USAID and other, Action Aid and other aid agencies. But it was seen as government distributions. And it was actually very effective. It was actually very effective. You see, as you said, Barrow cannot master this. Because Barrow is using an operational system, but he doesn't have the capacity to operate the system. Why did I say this? Remember, when Yaya Jammeh does something, this element of fear. Yahya Jammeh would make sure that I am going to give out rice to people that supports me.
Yeah.
Do you know why other people would have to support him to have the rice? Because Yahya Jammeh would make sure that nobody else would be giving out rice to people who are not supporting me. If he knew that Ahmad is a philanthropist, he's an independent businessman, or whatever you are, you just doing good and you are not politicizing on it, what does Yahya Jammeh do? He goes after you.
Yeah.
He goes after your business and everything. What you have to do is not to participate. This was the reason Yahya Jammeh had a monopoly. But in a arena, you don't have a monopoly of giving. I think it would be smart to make sure you devise to give as much as possible to any person in order to galvanize support. But this is the problem. Barrow doesn't have the capacity, to operate onto the system.
Yeah. Talking about institutional failure and how Barrow is, picking from where Yahya Jammeh left off. I think this is the time when national disaster management should come into fore. But you hardly heard about it. We are in a pandemic. There is no disaster in the world more than the pandemic. So why nobody is hearing about national disaster management? What are they doing?
Thank you. You see, this is where I'm saying the failing. You see, even during Yahya Jammeh days, you remember, you do hear the vice president, who the chair of the national disaster management. You do hear them during the time of crisis. You do hear them and see them active.
Yeah.
But what Yahya Jammeh does is, because of he knows that it's instrumental for these people to be seen and heard, in order that the grants and aid would come in. But the end distortion is the Yahya Jammeh operation that would be happening. The guy was smart in the way of doing things. In this space, it's a constitutional requirement. Just as CDA Jatta have exposed in the parliament, that the money that comes for disaster relief should go into a disaster relief account. Then the disaster management agency would be in charge of the account, and they do that thing. The disaster management agency left Banjul in February or late February or early March to went and do their assessment, and they came back. But you have not heard about them, because that's the time they decided that they want to use COVID operations to galvanize support. Now they have to sideline the NDNA in order for them to have the access. But it becomes disaster to them, expose their incompetence. Because if the NDNA was in charge, as you said, that was supposed to be the thing, they have the expertise and they have the resources. In a sense, they have the data and they have the experience, because they have been involved in different parts of the country, and they could have done a better job. But for Barrow, his thinking is that then I cannot claim Barrow have been doing this, because they want to say that Barrow have been doing this. But again, he's not smart. If your government does well, the credit will go to you. Just as if your government failed, the failure would be you. He could have still have a political capital. The most important thing was that it was a success, no matter who does it. Even the success of what civil society have done, government would have tapped in onto that if they have strategies to have the capital on that. Because of why? They could have, when the SR files and other communities were running to do this, they could have jumped into said, yes, we are going to give you logistic support. We will provide the vehicles for you. We could provide this and that. Then they would have part of the success. But what did they do? They sidelined the civil society. They could have decided to say, look, we're going to take $10 million and give it to, this is the criteria for civil society to apply for this grant in order to be part of, this is the way you do things. But they thought that they have to have it done for themselves and operate it in order to have credit out of it. No, the most important thing is let it be successful, and you will be part of that credit. And the biggest part of the credit, which would political, would be yours. But unfortunately, you don't know how to do things.
And I have only two questions for you. Then I will read two statements from the viewers. Then you can comment on that. And the Next is the 10 million US. We know a lot of money has been pumped into the Gambia.
Yeah.
But this 10 million thing, Mambarenjai waffle through it, that they change it into a dalasi, and that, it's all confusing. But where is the 10 million US dollars that's supposed to um, 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 be part of this COVID-19 fund? Completely different from the environment money they
Yeah.
raise in.
Yeah, that 10 million is part of, I think, the World Bank assistance.
Yeah.
And it was, I think World Bank gave out an amount and it was round up to be 10 million.
Yeah.
Now, we are waiting for the for them to produce. They said that it's been sent to Turkey to procure medical equipment and ambulances.
Yeah.
Now, again, why Turkey?
Yeah.
Why Turkey? Why not a country? Imagine again, if things were procure in Germany, procure with, other Western countries, I think you would have a better deal. Better deal for the 10 million than in Turkey. But most of the cases is because of the corruption. They have their contacts in Turkey. They have this thing. Now we are going to wait for the things to be delivered, the items to be delivered. And I think the House of Parliament and Gambians can go item by item by item to let me just, I think if I can put it on the screen, someone is already looking at it. I will try to make sure it's just the items is looking into the company. The 10 million. You see, this is the interesting thing. When we say things on platforms, there are people behind the scenes that will come up and support you and give you the resources that you need in order to prove it. There's a lot of transactions between us here. But he did, it's somewhere, okay. But we are looking at the equipments. We are looking at the equipment they're going to procure. But already we find out that the company they're using is actually not dealing in ambulances. Probably the company is going to subcontract another company in order to get the ambulances. But that is also going to create middlemen into the thing. And I don't think it's an effective way of doing the business. But as we said, we will look into this. Inshallah, we'll look into this and make sure the 10 million is accounted for.
Yeah. My final question before I read the two comments I mentioned is that when we all knew Africa is corrupt and Gambia is no exception. But for a state minister to come out that clean, what do you think like the civil society organization need to do to make sure that we have this anti-corruption law? Because it seems these are some of the things which were trumped up before these people came, but now they have been swept under the carpet. What can we do to make sure these are the issues that the government should be pursuing and should make sure they are in place before they are going anyway in 2021?
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmad. I think we have problem with our civil society as well. You see, in the transitional period, we all, all organizations were meant to review themselves and restructure themselves. We do have genuine civil society organizations in the Gambia, but we have an overwhelming amount that are just in it for themselves, to create jobs for themselves, to sustain themselves. It's just like jobs for them. And some of that initiative we've been talking about, good governance, the project we've tried to do, part of that was to try to bring capacity. Most of the civil society in Gambia, that they have good intent, but they themselves don't have the capacity to do the things that they want to do. If you look at their mission statement, if you look at their everything, they want to do, they have the intent, but they don't have the capacity. And this is where we were trying to bridge the gap, to try to get them that capacity to do things and to know how to apply for these fundings. There is a lot of funding out there to be attracted. To do things, and I think it's another area we have to work on to get civil society participation. It's not only the advocacy. Advocacy is very important to enlighten people to understand. Then the people would support initiative. But again, the civil society should have a strategy. That they would use to approach issues. Advocacy should have a communication strategy on advocacy. How can we effectively, hold government accountable to advocacy? How can we effectively communicate with the people in order to enlighten them, to empower, our cause? These are two important things they have to do. They have to find out, how do we engage? It's not only about how do we engage institutions that are stakeholders in this. They have to be, you have to try and get yourself to the big table where decisions are made and decisions are discussed, then solutions are found. Then by involving with stakeholders, having an approach to bring stakeholders on the table, what it does is empowers you in order to have influence in the decisions being taken and the solutions being provided to fix issues. This is where civil society should go out there, invite the parliamentary committee. They are stakeholders. Invite institutional, these things on the table. Invite the diplomatic community. Invite your sister organizations that are in the sub-region. That's how you empower yourself as a civil society group. If you go to Senegal, that's why you have these strong civil society organizations, because of they don't stick to their boundaries. There's nothing like a boundary if it comes to civil society. You affiliate internationally, regionally, and you have to engage. You have to build partnership nationally in order to have strength. Then this is about structural changes too. We expect to see in civil society so that they can have the capacity in order for them to mobilize. There's resources out there to mobilize all the resources needed and utilize the resources into the operations that they're doing and to complement the efforts of the other sectors.
I'm done with you, and thank you very much once again. We have 3 minutes, but I'm going to engage our viewers. Thank you all for your time, and please share these videos. Mr. Taylor mentioned, because then I think you mentioned something like this, or frustration about the opposition, how they are not pulling their weight in the right way. Claudia Taylor suggested an opposition government. No, an opposition political party should act as a government in waiting, and with spokesperson mirroring every ministry. You know, in the
Mr. Taylor is quite right. I've numerously said this in civic educational things. The only way the opposition can be effective, but I think they have to decentralize this power. It should not be about the party leader. And look at the structures of all the opposition in the Gambia. It's about the party leader. This is the reason too. A party leader is a target. That if you hit on the party leader, you get to the nerves of the party. Now, let's say that the structure that good government have, and you can be innovative. You can decide to have a middle of the government and reframe it. Instead of having minister of spokesperson for youth and sport, just have a spokesperson for youth and youth development. Now, if you have almost every been the external affairs, defense, finance, local government, and every time, whenever issue arises, you have someone with competence, the expertise, someone that will be looked at admire that, I wish Ahmed Manjang was the Minister of Health, or I wish Suwareh was the Interior Minister, or I wish Mr. Taylor was the Justice Minister. You see, that's how we empower the party and hold accountable. Then, if issues have arises, people would not be targeting your party leader, but they would target the person that carries the message. Then, effectively, the government would be kept busy. And because of the people that will speak on these matters, in most cases, when the party leaders come out to speak about issues, they don't have the expertise, they don't have the knowledge to convince people what the argument is about. It would just be centered on politics, and it will end up being personalized. But if you have people to come out, environmentalists, to be your environmental spokesman, this person would be inspiring. This person would educate the people, sensitize the people, so that the people would be enlightened in order to take that informed decision. We need information in order to have the right, to make the right choices. This is what. But again, Ahmad, you know the important part about this is the messenger. Ahmad, why do we expect all the political parties when we have women issues? We expect. That's why we don't hear them, because we don't have the messengers. Why do we don't see a woman spokesperson in this this thing? The only time we have women spokesperson is when they have issues to do about political campaign, when they go to do garawale, and fighting. But people, women with capacity.
Okay, Ben, since you mentioned women, somebody, Moses Ture, thinks with all this corruption, if you give women chance, that will solve this issue of corruption. Do you agree?
I completely disagree. The corruption is not a gender issue. You want to tell me that Aissatou Touré would do better than Barrow? No.
Or Aissatou Ndiaye Sedi.
Or Aissatou Ndiaye Sedi, or Fatmata Tambajang, or let's name it. Let's name them. This is about, yes, gender is very important. I'll come to this. Gender is very, diversity is important. Gender is very important. There's contributions that we need, and we have to have women on the decision making table. And this tokenism, I don't like this tokenism.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a woman vice president. Regardless of who the person is, because it's a woman is enough. That's an insult to women liberation. That's an insult for the women empowerment. Now we have, Barrow have, constituted a women's ministry, isn't it?
Yeah.
What issue have this? Do you know the name? What issue have this? Have this woman ever inspired any woman? What issues have he ever raised? Nothing, absolutely. Then bringing out the person, what important is, be the man or a woman, let the person have Gambia in heart, let the person have the knowledge, let the person have the mindset, let the person have the integrity. Integrity is the first thing that we should, look into person. Yes, we will consider gender when we come to constitute our bodies. And when we consider gender, it's not based on a token. It's not based on a token. And we should not always think of women to be secondary. Yes, we can have political parties and think of that we want a particular woman to be the party leader. But when we talk about political parties, our mindset will always dictate a man to be the party leader and have a woman as the vice leader. Whenever we constitute a committee, we think of the man to be the committee chairman and a woman to be the vice chairman. Look at all the committees inaugurated by this government. All the committees have men as the committee chairman and women as the deputy chairman. And in this case, I have seen in circumstances that the deputy chairman is more fitting to be the chairman. But because it's a woman, the mindset have dictated, no, kelebe tala nyato. Gor moy jitu jien delu. That's not a fact. That's not a fact. The fact here is that ku wara jitu moy ko opo ham-ham. Ku wara jitu moy nit ku jup. Ku wara jitu moy ko xamne xelam at xalatam la fa and ci lu ñoo def.
Yeah, thank you very much. On a final note, I'll give you your final say. Just to summarize, you hear Ben, we know there is corruption in the Gambia, but now we have state ministers talking about it. I think that is encouraging. So now it's left to Gambians. We have our parliamentarians, and Ben give them credit today that if they had been rubber stamped, maybe we'll not have heard this from Mr. Samati. The guy is under a lot of pressure from the parliamentarians and also from the social media. I think our best opportunity or best platform in social media is definitely doing the trick as far as Barrow's government is concerned. These people are not forward thinking, so they are taking all their cues from the social media. What is been going on? You know, I just wrote on my timeline, we are raising money to buy a Land Rover for the police, and the Inspector General of Police turned up and said, "Okay, come here, Mr. Councillor. I will provide." So it works.
What didn't I tell you?
Yeah, exactly. Ben said, and also Nyanja said, "Why would you do this?" But at least it is done So we can all do something, to change our country for good. We cannot go back to the old ways. There is no way. We cannot allow selfish idiots, to destroy it for all of us. So we all, everybody can do anything, even by just sharing these videos. So the likes of Ben, once again, thank you very much for coming. And you have visitors. I know most of the people here are your fan base. What do you want to tell them to make sure these five?
I'm very glad. I'm very glad you concluded the. Concluded the program on those notes. I'm a believer
Yeah.
in the every little bit we do. That's what's going to institute the change.
Yeah.
We cannot sit down and wait for other individuals to do the change. The change is upon us.
Yeah.
And Ahmad, we are the government. You see, Gambia, people are, it's very difficult to speak about truth. Because we should speak about is to our own brothers and sisters. We all know each other.
Yeah.
It's difficult. But if you want to bring about change, we have to start from talking about the truth. We have to confront the difficult issues head on. And this must last syndrome has to be dropped.
Yeah.
Have to be dropped. And in this case, it's every individual have something to contribute. And don't think that your contribution is small. No, my contribution is small in the midst of things. You might look at me thinking that I'm putting this much, but it's small in the midst of things. But I believe that little I do will be complemented by the other people that carry the message, and that other people that share the message, other people that act on the message. I am just, and the other things we do. We are doing things differently. But the most important thing that if we do it progressively and we are strategic in what we do, we'll get there. I'll tell you, this is a fact. Go and ask people that attend board meetings. Social media now is a consideration on what is on social media. Go and ask people that know the cabinet. The cabinet have to consider it. It's dominant. It's not because of why is it dominant? It's only medium that's available where things are this thing. And the effect, why is it so effective is we are talking directly to our people.
Yeah.
When we talk about issues, at times I'll talk about something and it will hurt a family member. And that family member, what it does, very progressive, that family member will approach the family, the person that is affected and try to change there. Dégg naa benn mu ngi wax lii de te lii dëgg la. Foog naa ne war ngeen a xool lii. And in this case, at times, there's a mediation that goes around. And we do see change and improvement. We have talked about a lot of issues and we have seen direct effect on it. The only thing, at times we don't want to come to say that as, dañ wax lii am, dañ wax lii am. It might be looked as boasting or anything else. But I just want to encourage Gambians, whatever they are, the silence. When you speak, you might just see few viewers. When you speak, you don't know how far it's gone. But I'll tell you, it have gone somewhere and someone is going to carry it. And the most important thing is, what did you talk about? If it is something effective, it will get to the person that really matters and things be done. Ahmad, we could have been here today. I could have given you a topic, and I can make sure that topic would get people to log in to watch. Because if I started to insult, if I started to ridicule, if I started to talk about UDP, if I talk about certain things about Usaidu Dabo, certain things about Barrow, certain things about their private life, certain things about Halifa Sallah private life, or not. If I do that, you'll be surprised. But what does that bring us? Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Definitely.
But when we talk about substance, what it does is it starts to bring about the change that we expect. And it's a journey, and we'll get there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Talking about substance, tomorrow we are discussing World Wildlife Day here. We have a panel discussion And we have some very, very good environmentalists coming. So we would like to see you. Thank you once again, Ben,
Thank you very much.
Claudio, Momoba, and Anti Tuklorsi, Lamin Sanyang. Yeah, you can watch the video in your free time is there. So thank you all for being. We can do, anybody can do anything, even if it means nothing, just sharing these videos so it get to the right destination. Thank you all and welcome.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnels who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 9906.
Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Staying fit is a combination of eating well and physical fitness. This you can easily find in Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. First, they will get you lose fat easily with amazing exercises. Build your muscles gradually. Fitness becomes fashion. Show no pain, no gain. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. The way to prove yourself is to better yourself with the kinds of machines we have at Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. You will easily better yourself, like the rowing machine, leg curl machines, weight benches, rubber plates, double pulley machines, cross trainers, rubber dumbbells, multi-gym machines, and much more. Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max. Now we have state-of-the-art changing rooms, toilets and showers for our esteemed clients, both ladies and gents. Different varieties of foods to aid your self-development of muscles and bones are available at reasonable prices. Regular beat training is also part of our periodic exercises. For more information, call 7171998, 7171998, Bunyur Fitness Center Body Max.
Yiriwaninya totalia jia Hanamaya Sewo yanyada lubeng Nabanko kenemalem kambia Ibedaoda Kana song mu mekanyine faso la gambia Tunya Inina tai boso wola inina tai famola Siganya Denganya tanna bangolela Siganya Kafunyo mana no muta siganya Mulimunya totani na fasoto Nabiyankolde Inamba ko nyimati Nabiyankolde Inambo kairama Nabiyankolde Inamola bankoti Nabiyankolde Inambo mansia Molo ya bunya Habarakata Ule atina molo mangana Nimbanko nyima faida Banko dingolu Alingana kafunyoma Tunya Mangi misani mbango dinyala mume Bintata Dunia kono nying banko la diamba fola Gambia nyonke Gambia kole Inamba konyi mati Gambia kole Gambia,